お前の道はここで終わりだ。見せてその先の力というもの。ブリーチ、ブレイブソウルズ。
Alright, what is going on, you guys? This is your boy the Death Smasher, and welcome back to yet another top 10 video. Now, these top 10s have been kind of wonky, and I do apologize. I try to do my best in terms of how to rank the characters as best as I possibly can, but hopefully this list will turn out to be better, even though, let's be honest here, Tech has been kind of wonky with its characters. Like, it's a good attribute, but I think it's far from being the best. And after Tech, we're just going to do Speed, which is pretty much, you know, an easy W to make. But anywho, let's just go ahead and get right to it. If you guys like the content, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. Also have a second channel in the description down below if you guys want to check it out, which is mainly going to be due to gaming, although right now it's inactive because I'm currently focusing on content related to Bleach Brave Souls. So yeah, it's only going to be for when I want to stream other games. So with that being said and done, let's just go ahead and get right into the top 10 list, and let's just start off with the honorable mentions. And lads, Arpa Ichigo has officially fallen off, which is sad. I'm not gonna lie, as I was updating the list, it broke my heart. It really did. But he had his run, but like, sadly, Frenzy +1 with Berserker 60 just doesn't cut it anymore. No increased status element chance, no 80% SP boost. He also had a good kit too, like having the Suction Vortex on the SA1, 960, full screen SA3. It's just sad to see a legend go down. Well, he lasted until he lasted, lads. That's all I gotta say. It's just that some other characters have made it in and we've gotten better units. But going down with him is also Roka. I hated on this character, but honestly, the more the game progressed, the more I kind of became accustomed to her, even though I still hate her. Just, you know, 80% SP boost. She does have the crowd control. She works for guild quests, even though I desperately hate her. But like, again, we've gotten way better tech characters as a whole, that she just isn't a top 10 anymore. And yeah, that is all. If she had increased status element chance, I think she might have survived, but I don't know. Keep in mind, she has the 18% shave. Not suction vortex, homing vortex only, and then the full screen SA3 with a crap ton of damage. And oh well, she's down, so you know what, if Art Book is going down, she's going down too. And another honorable mention has to pretty much be 1000-Year Blower Byakuya. This guy would have been so good if he had two things: Havoc and reduce cooldown at full stamina. Because look at what he has: Frenzy +2, increased strong attack damage of 40% with damage inflicted at full stam of 30, with damage to weaken enemies of plus 40%, and also has Start Barrier +10. He's basically made to be used as a GQ booster, yet they didn't give him Havoc. He has the skinny beam, an 800 AoE, and then a full screen SA3. Like, bro, come on. You cannot have this type of beam in 2024 anymore now. Like, come on, it needs to be 800 plus if you're not gonna give him Havoc. Like, come on, man, come on. As not had it, so why not him? I get that he stole Byakuya's Bankai, but that doesn't mean anything, bruh. And if we really want to, you know, add more to it, well, increased status element chance is what Byakuya also needed. So yeah, sadly he's not making the top 10, but still an honorable mention because he just does a lot of damage. Anywho, let's just go ahead and get right into it. At number 10, we have Cacao Society Grimjow. He's actually, you know, aging better than I thought. And it's mainly due to the fact that he's mainly the farmer for, you know, farming super pots and link slot potions, but he's more so an epic grade farmer because of the kit that he has and the charge SA3. Paired up with a bunch of ill forts, you can clear out epic grades and be able to farm most of the pots and just be able to get it over and done with. Has the 3k length beam, Suction Vortex on the SA2, and then the SA3 being the charge. The charge SA is dead for guild quests, unfortunately, but because this guy's a farmer, you're going to be using him mainly for epic grades. He's going to work well, although he's starting to fall off since he's at number 10, so by then I think we might have another tech unit in which he replaces him and he just falls off directly. which is a bit disappointing. Keep in mind, he doesn't have increased status element chance, no berserker, no full stamina damage boost, no nothing, just technique, attribute, or wrong card damage to status element affected enemies of plus 20%. That's all. Up next is gonna be 1000 Year Blower Uryu. Now, I did rank him a lot lower, and it's only due to the fact that he's not really that impressive for inheritance trials as I once thought. Like, he still does a good job against killing these smaller enemy mobs, but he just struggles against the bosses, and it's not even funny. Even though he has a pretty decent kit with the crowd control, and does have Frenzy +1, full stam 20, Berserker 60, character strong attack damage of 20%. If you want to fully utilize this character, you need to max transcend him if you don't want to worry about dying, if you ask me. Is an ultimate farmer, so droplet drop of 30%, speed link slot potions of +5, and super link slot potions of +5. So yeah, he's gonna be better than Cacao Society Grimjow for inheritance trials, but like, again, against the harder bosses, he kind of struggles to kill a bit. Like at 1.5, definitely. At 2.5, it's gonna be a bit better. Like, I have him 4.5. I sadly never got him 5.5. I wish I did, but it is what it is. Soul Reaper and Captain Killer. You're not using him for guild quests, no. 20% stamina recovery at least, Havoc of 20%, and Sprint +1. And he pretty much has a similar kit to Roka, just that he now has the 750 AoE in front rather than the 18% shave, which is good. Homing Vortex only, SA3 being full screen. Yeah, he's starting to fall off a bit, which is quite disappointing. And then up next we have Chojiro. Now, this is a pretty good character. I would actually argue to say that he's better than Lisa, despite having the same kit. But like, having Frenzy +2 with damage to paralyzed enemies of +40%, increased status element chance at that too, makes him a pretty good farmer. He's good for epic raids, especially. Also has, you know, guaranteed droplets of +10 and the droplet link, which is pretty good. Also buffs the technique, attribute, character, special move damage, and what else? Yeah, farms also potions. He does keep the recharge at least, so there's that. Paralysis on his entire kit. There are some ITs in which he does get cucked, but he still is a good character to use. Also has guard break plus hit hidden enemies, havoc of 20%, and sprinter +2. And then the kit, yeah, he is basically mine Lisa. Like, shotgun blast, suction vortex, SA3 full screen. You can't really go wrong with this skill set. If you want to make the best usage out of this character for, like, I don't know, IT, if you don't have any other better character, give him full stam and long stride, and you'll be pretty much fine with him. But for, like, epic grade content, just go for full stam and SP, and you're gonna be cooking with this character just fine. Up next at number 7 is gonna be Spirits Are Forever with Eugene, which I've grown accustomed to. I actually like this character more than ever, and he's aging better than I thought. Although most of the skills are actually wasted, especially coin drop, especially technique, attribute, character, movement speed. I get it that it's to buff 1000 Year Blower Eisen for autoing, but like, nah, miss me with that. It should be its own accessory and not a skill, bruh. I hate it so much. But that being said, he farms super pots better than Uryu, and in Inheritance Trials, there's only one IT in which enemies screw over Gin, and that is Soul Reaper IT. But besides that, he's been usable in 90% of the Inheritance Trials out there. It would have been nice if this guy picked up 80% SP boost though, since he did come after Quincy Ichigo. He was one of the final novel characters, and they kind of did him dirty skill-wise and status element-wise. Like, just having poison doesn't really work for Inheritance Trials. But that being said, the skills are pretty decent, since he does have guard break plus hit hidden enemies, increased status element chance against speed attribute enemies, damage to poison enemies of +40%, and can farm, you know, again, link slot potions and super pots. So that's good. In abilities, Havoc, Long Stride, and Sprinter +2. Already a speedy boy, you can give him full stam and SP directly, or if you want to, even weaken defense to make his soul bomb better. 3k length beam with 1020 width, 916 to homing vortex, and then the SA3 is a full screen 1200 radius. Very good kit, very splendid. It's just, this kills could have been a lot better. Like, bruh, nobody asked for coin drop. Come on, we're in 2024, we don't need that. Up next at number 6 is going to Spirits Are Forever with Yuretsu. Now, she's still a really solid character. That being said, she took a hit for the worse for when it comes to guild quests. Standard charge SA3s are now dead. You're not going to be able to charge the SA3 within the next phase, which is very unfortunate. So, where can we still use this character? Still in Inheritance Trials and Epic Raids for when it comes to doing content, and I guess to some extent Limit Breaker quests, although there's just faster characters now. That SA3 is just gonna hold her back. I might even rank her lower, but I just feel like she's still better than all these other characters right here as a whole. Like, there's just no competition, just by the fact that she has Frenzy +2, Berserker 20, full stamina 20, also has Marauder and Weakened Defense, having a pretty neat Soul Bomb. Yeah, and also double status elements of Weakening and Drain. Like, she's still strong. Why did they have to do her so dirty for Guild Quest, man? That's my only main concern. Only Hollow Killer, but still has, you know, usage. You don't need double killers with this character. She's stupidly strong. Also has extra cooldown reductions of 6% medic and Spurner +1. And the kit is good too. 3k length beam, Vortex into pushback, and then the SA3 being, you know, the charge SA. Initial charge is 840, then the second charge is 1080. She still cooks. It's just that in Guild Quest, she's pretty much a dead character. You're not using her. There's just better units as a whole. And it's unfortunate to see one of my favorite characters, you know, lose some value, and she is more than likely going to start falling off the list even more once we get more technique characters. But she's definitely aged better than Art Book Ichigo, thankfully. So there's that. Art Book and Retsu were in direct competition, and now she just outlived him, which is crazy. Up next at number 5 is Thousand Year Blow Aizen. This guy saw a massive increase for when it comes to Guild Quest. Just the fact that they revived NAD characters, yeah, this character is just going to be shining more than ever just by having the 80% attack boost. Still one of the only few NAD characters in the game, alongside Cacao Society Ulquiorra, to only have this skill, and I don't understand what the hell K-Lab are doing with these NAD characters. Also has Flurry +1, but hold on, Bruiser 40, normal attack damage of 20%, and also has the gauge mechanic, which is ridiculous. Also was the very first NAD character with the gauge. And oh, and to top it all off, even has increased added summon chance against speed attribute enemies. So yeah, that's already freaking ridiculous with getting the 80% attack boost. Enhancer, Devotator of +5 seconds, Guard Break plus hit hidden enemies, and Multi-Barrier, so he's gonna protect you and your allies. The good thing is that he can be used for every single Guild Quest if you guys do not have an optimal booster. If you do not have Mana or Hime, you guys can use this character. And he'll protect you and your allies, which is stupid. It's ridiculous. And what else? Yeah, once he activates the gauge, he also gains 100% additional bruiser and 50% damage reduction. So, yeah, he's a ridiculous character. He's still the NAD king to this day. And that's why I'm placing him so high on the list. It's just stupid. Has Read-All affiliation dodges, fire immunity, and Spurner +1. The kit doesn't really matter too much because he doesn't have Berserker, but if you guys are curious, well, Shotgun Blast, SA2 being 800 AoE, the SA3 being the vacuum into explosion. This is going to be key to getting the 80% attack boost easily. Besides that, you're going to want to use the strong attacks just so that way you can get the gauge to be active and just be able to use it at all times. Because keep in mind, he does not have Star Gauge, he doesn't have Gauge Rampage, so you got to build it up by using also the straw attacks. Even though they'll do no damage, it's still going to work because you're going to be inflicting status summons, you're going to be boosting with the SA2, and you're just going to be building up the gauge. He's just a king. He's still a king. He's really good. He's aged well, and he's just going to continue aging well. Let's see how well he'll do in the next coming years. But yeah, at number 4, Bambietta. Yeah, I kind of was in the mix of having her in the top 3, but honestly, it pretty much has to do with the kit, although she's still a really strong character, don't get me wrong. She just kind of falls short because of the SA2 only being really good for Guild Quest specifically. But like, Frenzy +2, increased status summon chance against speed attribute enemies, Sharpshooter, 80% SP boost, strong attack reaches time of -12%, so she does keep it. Also has full stamina damage boost of 30%, damage to burning enemies of +40, bombardment, and devastation with weakened defense. Also has Sharpshooter, so yeah, pretty crazy set of skills, which is insane. And what about the innate abilities? Havoc of 20%, Paralysis immunity, and Spurn +1. Keep in mind, she was mainly designed for the ranged Captain Guild Quest. But anywho, SA1, Suction Vortex, SA2 is going to be the Barrage attack. It's 1080 radius, but don't let that fool you like I was fooled before. It's only like a 150-degree angle in front, and you kind of have a limited radius. So sometimes you want to be careful, and once you use that strong attack, you're also going to be open to enemy attacks from screwing you over. So there's that, and then the SA3 is full screen. I did like the SA2, but sometimes when it comes to using this character in IT, I felt like I was always losing my full stam, and it wasn't really all that good, and that's why I kind of have to place her at number 4. She's mainly GQ specific, but she's a ridiculously strong character regardless. Extro, enjoy your girl while you can, because we're just gonna get better tech characters in the future. Yeah. At number 3, I have to give it to Spirits Are Forever With You, Tosh. Now, he doesn't hit as hard as Bambietta, but he just makes his way around it with all the skills that he has. And he does have double killers, so a lot more value. Soul Reaper and Squad Zero killer. You can use him in next week's space. But yeah, Frenzy +1, Berserker 40. Has the gauge mechanic, so once you activate the gauge, you do get the cooldowns. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, even with Aizen, you do get the cooldowns as well. I forgot to mention that, but anyways, going back on topic. Has Bombardment, no weakened defense, no devastation, keep in mind. So yeah, share complete status immunity and 80% SP boost with Marauder. So yeah, no increased status element chance, but I feel like with the kit, you can kind of make your workaway around it. He's going to be hitting a good amount of times with his essays, and you can pretty much get it to work. Plus, he has the gauge mechanic too, but look at what else he has. He also has increased strong attack damage at 40% when at full stam, and an extra full stamina damage boost of 20%, which is crazy because in base he already hits harder than Yamamoto. So yeah, Berserker 40, full stam 20, with strong attack damage at 40% when at full stam, and the 80% SP boost is no joke. No Frenzy +2 or anything of that kind of matter, but like, he's still cracked. He's still cracked. SA1, 3k length beam with 1020 width. SA2 is going to be the same lunge as White, so 60% mag to 60%. Not a lot of hits in, but like still good enough. And then the SA3 is going to be a full screen attack. He's definitely aged better as a character to use as a whole, that he even got an increase in value because of Guild Quest. Now that Squad Zero is its own separate thing, he's pretty much the best unit to use for melee Squad Zero human killer. And also, once you activate the gauge, you also gain an additional 100% Berserker with damage reduction of 50%. So, yeah, you guys can argue for this guy to still be number 1, number 2, or even number 3, but I have to place him at number 3 for a really good specific reason. But yeah, here is who we have at number 2 and number 1, which I do think it's tied. I do think it's actually genuinely tied between the two, and it's Ichibei and Ichigo. You can argue for Ichigo to be number 2 and you'd be right. You can argue for Ichigo to be number 1 and you'd be right. Same thing can be said about Ichibei. And here's a good reason as to why. Let me just go ahead and get right into it. Ichibei in base is a fucking fraud. But once you get the gauge effect to activate, he becomes one of the best characters in the game, and it's just overall going to be better than Halloween Nini, because at least once you activate the gauge, you get your cooldowns back. Meaning that this guy is going to be a GQ king and a Limit Breaker Quest king. To some extent for Limit Breaker Quest, because you're not going to be able to use him at all times compared to Kilge, Yuhabaha, and Yachiru Unohana. So there's that, but like, look at what he has. Frenzy +1 with Berserker 50. In base, it's sadly lackluster because you want to have Frenzy +2 or at least increase status element chance. He does have the gauge rampage like Halloween Nini, Havoc of 20%, Marauder, and weakened defense, and that's his base skills. But what about the gauge stuff? He does have the start gauge like Nini and Bruno, so there's that, and also gains the gauge effect. Once you activate it, you get 50% SP boost and strong attack recharge of 30%. He also has double killers, by the way, Soul Reaper and Quincy. When you activate the gauge, you gain an additional 100% Berserker and Frenzy +1. So he's going to become one of the best characters in the game once you get that activated. Keep in mind, he has the Gauge Rampage skill, which means that every time you kill an enemy, you also fill up the gauge, not by just attacking. He's going to be able to out-damage Quincy Ichigo. And the kit, oh yeah, what about the innate abilities? He does have Long Stride, Paralysis Immunity, and Sprinter +1. It's stupid that they didn't give him Weakening Immunity, because he's not even immune to his own rotations, which is pretty freaking stupid, man. Like, they just gave him Paralysis for Limit Break Quest specifically. But anywho, the kit, he has the Suction Vortex, like always. 3k length beam. I would have preferred if he had the 916 Tohomi Vortex, to be honest. And then the SA3 is full screen. He's good as a gauge character, but honestly speaking, I just wish that they would stop making these gauge characters such a fraud in base to then only be OP once you activate it, because I don't like using this character outside of Guild Quests and Limit Breaker Quests especially, and it's pretty much the reason why I kind of skipped him. But I'm not going to deny that he's a good character, and he definitely fits the number 2, number 1 spot just fine. It just, that's why I said tech is kind of wonky right now. Like, I don't want to see this. I want to see good characters like, I don't know, Yuha, Kilgay, the new True Shikai Ichigo, those kind of levels of good characters, not how you have one portion of the character be sucky and then one portion of the character be OP godlike. Because this guy in Epic Raids, I have to be honest with you guys, he's a fraud. You're not gonna have the Cage Rampage at all, and you gotta build it up by just simply attacking. And that's why, for me, I want to keep him at number 2. And then at number 1, Quincy Ichigo. I do find that this character has actually aged well, but sadly for Guild Quest, he just isn't all that cracked, and it pretty much all has to do with the 18% shave holding him back, because I was using him in ranged Squad Zero Human Killer. Now granted, that GQ rotation sucks in and of itself, but like, I had to pretty much use the likes of Thousand Year Blower, Aizen, and Shinji to debuff, and let's just say I did not have a good time clearing it. I did clear the GQ finally, but like, how is it that this guy at 2.5 with full stam and SP struggle to clear when Macy just does it better, right? And it pretty much has to do with the fact that he picked up the beam as the second rather than a 960 Entanglement Vortex, and of course, you know, the 18% shave not doing too much favors. Like, in every content he's fine, like he can pretty much work just fine, and I do think that this character, in my opinion, is better than Ichibe in both Inheritance Trials and Epic Raids as a whole. But if there's one thing I gotta say that's good, is that both Ichibe and Quincy Ichigo combined make a solid nasty duo for Limit Breaker Quest, with Ichigo buffing Ichibe and Ichibe just being able to do a crap ton of damage with the gauge. So there's that. It helps build it up. But going back on topic, he still is a great character. He was the very first Frenzy +2 character to ever come with 80% SP boost as a whole. And he came with a crap ton of multipliers too, such as having Berserker 40%, Technique Attribute Character Strong Attack Damage of 20%, also came with increased status element chance against Speed Attribute enemies, which just makes him even more broken, Sharpshooter, and also has a decent Soul Bomb of Devastation 40%. So like, it's stupid, and he introduced the cooldown reduction in between maps. So if you guys praise Kilgay, Yuha, and all the other characters, it's thanks to this unit right here getting it, which is stupid. It's ridiculous. Like, just Bruiser is wasted because that could have easily been complete status immunity. Honestly, if he had complete status immunity, I'd be pretty damn fine with it. Yeah. Also has Sharpshooter. Double Killers, just like Ichibe, Hollow, and Human. But then moving down, he also has Weakening and Drain, so he has a lot of survivability too. He has full stamina damage boost of 20%, as if that weren't enough of having Berserker 40 and the character strong attack damage of 20% and the 80% SP boost. He has this to back it up. And then Havoc of 20% with Sprinter +2, making him quite good. If you want to make him speedy, you can with Long Stride, but I find it better to have full stamina SP on him because it's just stupidly broken. Again, he has the 18% shave, and then the SA2 being a 3k length beam, and then the SA3 being full screen. The crazy thing is that Quincy Ichigo and Ichibe are just way stronger, but their kits aren't as good as Safui Tosh. So like, if for whatever reason you find Tosh to be better, I don't doubt you guys ranking him at number 1, but like, I just feel like Quincy Ichigo fits number 1 better, Ichibe being number 2, and then Toshiro at number 3, because Ichibe is, again, fantastic in Guild Quest, fantastic in Limit Breaker Quest, but he's pretty much a fraud for like Inheritance Trials and Epic Raids. And then you have this guy being better for, you know, the exact opposite, IT and Epic Raids, but in Guild Quest and Limit Breaker Quest, Ichibe is just going to be a much better character. Although this guy at least can support Ichibe for the game mode in and of itself. So there's that, and yeah, I think this is a good list. Yeah, definitely better than the other two that I did. Wasn't the craziest, but yeah, let me know what you guys think, if you guys agree, disagree, and I'll also explain my point of views as to why I see some of the characters like I did in the comments. But yeah, with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you guys have enjoyed it, don't forget to smash that like button, share this video with your friends and family, subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already, and hit the bell notification so that way you guys are up to date with my most recent videos. This has been your bud, the Dash Smasher, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. So have a wonderful day, lads. Peace out. Bye. Sayonara.